Reverend Joanne.
Well, good morning. Good morning. So who's ready for Christmas? Who's ready for the holidays? Well, we're going to talk about that today. Before we do, though, I'm going to take this entire book and this. There we go. All right, how many of you brought teddy bears and or socks for seniors? If you did, please stand and bring up your teddy bears and put them in our box. For those of you who may not know, we are working with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to collect bears for families that go through a difficult challenge during the holidays, specifically domestic violence. Look at this bear. Isn't that the cutest bear? Thank you. And we contacted Walmart and we asked them to donate. So they actually donated 8 teddy bears. And I'm going to call up Penny. Where are you, Penny? Come up here, please. And she's going to actually put them in the box. And here they are right here. You want to pick it up here? I want to show how adorable.
We'll hold up the bears a second.
Yeah, see. Isn't that great? I know we have overflowing teddy bears. Just put them in there. That's fine. That's good. Yeah, that's good. And some are different, some are the same. But this is about the size we're looking for. And next Sunday will be the last Sunday that you will have an opportunity to share or bring your teddy bears. And then next week when you arrive here at the center, in every chair will have at least 1 or more, maybe 2 or 3 teddy bears for you to fill with love that we will send forward. Thank you, Walmart. Let's give Walmart a hand. Thank you. And we also have socks for seniors. Did anyone bring socks? We have 2 more weeks for the socks. So if you brought socks, you can bring them up. Anyway, we have those. They're beautiful. They're brightly colored, and they go to our seniors. So we are giving to our community. We're here to be a gift to our community. So this month, this entire month, the rest of December, can you believe it? It's going by so quickly. This month is dedicated to the miracle of light. The miracle of light. And it is my intention that this be a December to remember. A December to remember. By sharing the sweetness, the sacredness, and the holiness of this time of year. As a way to begin this, I have a little sweetness that I'd like to share. Does anyone know where the theme A December to Remember came from? Anyone here know? You don't? It came from a car commercial. I take my inspiration wherever I can get it. So can anyone guess which car commercial it might be? I have chocolate. I come with chocolate, okay?
Ford. Hyundai.
None of the above. I think I'll eat all the chocolate. The car commercial is Lexus. You've all heard of a Lexus? A December to remember. Oh, they said that? Okay, will you please come up here?
Barb, yay!
Please come up here. I would like to give you the entire bag of chocolate. Yes, here. And this is the Christmas chocolate, the kisses. So I give you many kisses. December to remember, and I love that phrase because of what it stands for. And today, after my message, we are actually going to have an experience of this idea of light. Some of us here in this room, and we'll see how many of you it truly is, some of us in this room love, love, love Christmas. We get really into it, yes? So how many of you love, love, love Christmas? Just put up one hand. Okay, now, thank you. And there are also some in this very room who do not love, love, love Christmas and wish that it would just be over with. Now, you don't have to raise your hands. And then many of us are kind of somewhere in between. Sometimes Christmas brings up for us the feeling of loss. If we, like my parents both have passed away, my son too. And so sometimes during the holidays, do you know that's when a lot of people get depressed? Maybe you know someone. Anyone here know someone in their family or someone that's depressed? And that's what happens during the holidays. And so it is my intention in this December to remember that we will add, that I will share with you ways in which, he's giving up the chocolate, ways in which we can expand that love, 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 and that joy. For those of us who don't have that, who wish it was just over with, I am hoping, and it's my intention, that you will find peace and inspiring words that will shift that for you as we co-create a December to remember. So even though no one in this room received a Lexus from the Center for Spiritual Growth, although, a kid could still happen, it is my intention that we co-create that in a beautiful way, that we find the depth and the beauty of this time of year. And so we're going to just go right into this. In one of the greatest books ever written, it's a very ancient text, these words were said, and this is a huge teaching, so if you listen carefully, you will be able to pick up the teaching. The creator of all life, some call it spirit, some call it the divine, some call it God, the infinite beingness that truly is everywhere within and all around us, created all of life out of this particular substance. Anyone want to guess what that is? It's made out of light. God said, and this is recorded in many of the great spiritual teachings of the world, God said, let there be light. That's loud. Let there be light. And there was light, yes? And so have you ever thought of light as energy? We're taught by the great teachers of science, such as Einstein, that everything is energy. Everything is energy, and it changes form, right? Everything is energy, is everywhere. The divine is everywhere. So have you ever thought of creating your life first out of light? To sit in meditation and to image or imagine your life first made out of light, because that's the first creative energy of the universe. Dr. Holmes said it this way. I love his words. He said, light was the first great revelation of divine creative energy that called all living things into being. So light as energy is the first great revelation of divine creation. And so as we think about that, you've all heard of this, how fast does energy flow? You don't know? At the speed of light. Isn't that quick? It's like, whoosh, there it goes. So we are creative beings here on purpose, here in this room, in this gathering, on this planet together to co-create a magnificent life. So we can do that with light. Charles Fillmore, who started the Unity Church, you've all heard of Unity, he said this, light always means intelligence. Like the light, they'll say you had a light bulb moment. So light means intelligence, hence that which shines in the consciousness and is comprehended by the consciousness is a clear revealing of that higher truth. And so today we will look at this light, this idea of light, and I share with you a very beautiful Chinese proverb. You notice that we touch upon all of the religions of the world. We respect, honor, bless all paths, and we bless. We have someone here at the center, as the ambulance goes by, that was in an ambulance recently. And so every time one goes by, I send light and love to whoever that is. And she also had experienced something like that. So anytime you hear an ambulance, we'll just send them love and light. And we're not too far from the hospital, so we might hear a lot of those. Anyway, the Chinese proverb, see how this feels for you. If there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. If there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And if there is order in the nation, there will be peace on earth. So if there's light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. So isn't that beautiful? I love that. It's very compelling. And so today we're going to look at that light on the context of a holiday that began last week. A holiday celebrated and honored by those who are from the Jewish faith. Some of you may not know, and some of you may know, the story of Hanukkah and the 8 days of light. And in our own teaching in Science of Mind or Religious Science, we embody and embrace this idea. And one of my colleagues wrote something that I found, it's a little bit humorous, but there's a lot of truth to it. And she had this idea and wrote this article for the newspaper, and it was actually published. What would happen if we combined Christmas with Hanukkah? Christmas with Hanukkah. And going along with all large-scale mergers. Wouldn't that be a large-scale merger? By combining forces, we're told, she said, that the world would be able to enjoy consistently high-quality services during the holidays. And we would have 15 days. And she named it, okay, so you have Christmas and you have Hanukkah. She called it Christ Makah. So instead of Christmas or Hanukkah, it's Christ Makah. The new holiday is being called. The downside is that massive layoffs are expected with the lords a leaping and the maids a milking, right? Because then all of a sudden you've combined them two. As part of the conditions of the agreement, she said this, the letters on the dreidel, who knows what a dreidel is? That's these are prayer, wheels, thank you, prayer wheels that you turn and you pray. So instead of being written in Hebrew, they would write them in Latin instead. And instead of saying a great miracle happened here, it would say, miraculous stuff happens. We know that we've heard this before, shift happens, right? So instead of saying a miracle happened here, it would say miraculous stuff happens. So in exchange, it is believed that the Jews would be allowed then, since we're celebrating them together, Christmas and Hanukkah, Chrismakah, that they would be allowed to use Santa to deliver their gifts. In fact, one of the sticking points holding up this agreement for the last 300 years was the question of whether Jewish children could leave cookies and milk for Santa after they ate meat the night before. So, Oreo cookies decided to make a decision, and they published this, and they said that they are now, it's kosher. It's kosher. It's kosher to have cookies. So we're combining these two holidays together. And so back to Hanukkah, the miracle of light. This is a true story that has been experienced by many of the Jewish faith, and it's a beautiful story. So I'm going to share it with you. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, very far away, there were people, Jewish people, who were living in Judea, and this is the capital of the holy city, Jerusalem. And for many years, the Jews worked very, very hard to build a beautiful temple. So imagine this beautiful Jewish temple honoring their one God, Yahweh. And for some time, they were allowed to worship that. However, there was a new king in the kingdom that came in in Syria, which was a nearby kind of a province that encompassed all of it, and a new king came in and he said, you are not allowed to worship your one God. And so he wanted to follow the Greek teachings of many gods. And so he insisted that all of these Jewish people follow his idea, his belief. He said, you have to follow mine, and my way or the highway. And they didn't listen. They revolted. The ones who wanted to live did listen, but there was a group of men and women called the Maccabees. Isn't that a great name? So what happened with the Maccabees is they decided to fight, and they were just farmers. They weren't even soldiers. They decided to fight against this, and they created this huge war. And they actually won the war, and they wanted to literally light their beautiful candles. But all they had at the temple, they rebuilt the temple, all they had was one jug, one small amount of pure oil to light their way. And what happened, as many of you may know, if you're from that tradition, is that this little tiny bit of oil lit and stayed lit for 8 days. And they called it the miracle of light. And in this new temple, they made a rededication of this light. And the whole idea from this beautiful week of Hanukkah or Christmas is that we are here to rededicate ourselves to our spiritual journey. We are rededicating ourselves. So they built this new temple. They brought this beautiful menorah, this candle that stayed lit for 8 days and 8 nights. And they were just so amazed that it stayed lit all that time, because there was only enough for just one day actually. So during that miracle time, they decided they wanted all the Jewish people to every single year. So if you hear about this, I love this idea of taking the first week in the month of December to rededicate your heart, your time, your energy, your love, to rededicate your life to Spirit, to the infinite presence that is within and all around you. I love that idea. So how about if we're going to do that today in just a little bit. Eric Butterworth wrote in Science of Mind. He wrote about this man. He was actually from Canada. His name is Jacques Lessard. Doesn't that sound like a nice French-Canadian name? Who lost his physical eyesight when he was only 8. But he had this very powerful awakening as a small child. He realized that even though he couldn't see the physical things that we all can see, he could see his inner light. He felt this inner light. And he said whenever he was in gratitude, whenever he was in appreciation, whenever he was in love, spreading love, this light magnified. But if he got angry and he got upset, or even if he got sad, that the inner light would diminish. And so he believes, Eric Butterworth felt this was such a powerful message for all of us, that our task then is to rededicate ourselves and to see the inner light, this light of love that is within us. Very important. So through love and through acceptance and through forgiveness, as our songs embrace today, when we forget to accept, we forget to love, our inner light can become dim. And in order to express that light, we need to be in the gratitude and the positivity and the love and the acceptance and the compassion. And this week, I don't know if this happened to any of you, I woke up, I can't remember which day it was, but I was feeling really sad, but I didn't know why. I said, I'm feeling sad. Why am I sad? There's no reason for me to be sad. Couldn't think of one reason to be sad. And that's when I heard that Nelson Mandela had passed away. So I was feeling this from the planet, from all the people all over the world, because we are all connected, and I could feel this. And they have shown, they actually measure on the earth, they can measure the magnetic field, and every time there's a huge event on the planet, it actually has a spike. When Mother Teresa passed, there was a lot of sadness around that. So the spike could see the energy, the measurable energy spike. And so I just felt the sad. Does anyone else feel that? And see the pictures and the honoring. What a great teacher he is and will continue to be to all of us. Of tolerance, of love. You probably saw that he became best friends with the guard that kept him prisoner. And they became comrades and he helped him. So it's really amazing. I also want to share with you an experience from one of my other colleagues. How many of you have ever walked on fire? You have. How was that? So here she was, my colleague, Reverend Lynn Johnson, and she's going to a workshop, and she gets there, and she finds out that she's going to be walking on hot coals. And so she went into meditation. The leader of this event took them all through very intense meditation, preparation, forgiveness, like everything that you need to process, walking barefoot on coals, right? And then the day came when they were preparing them. So they laid out all the coals and they lit them all on fire. And as she was contemplating this, my colleague, my friend, said she was sitting there in meditation and she raised her chin and she felt this light, this light beam hit her eyes, and when she looked up, the trees outside had separated and the light was just coming right into her eyes. And she felt that that was a sign that she would be okay if she walked on the hot coals, right? So they got the coals ready and they waited all day until, you don't want to walk on them when they're still on fire. You kind of let them settle in there, just like like a barbecue, right? You get them ready. And so one last time, she got afraid. She looked at the coals, she knew how hot, that you could feel the heat. She became afraid. So she went inside the building, did another prayer, and as she was in prayer, with her eyes closed, she raised her chin and she felt again this light. And when she looked up, there was no sun, she thought it was just, the sun is shining, but actually it was light that came into her eyes. And then she said, okay, now I'm ready. And she went out, not only walked across once, but then went around and walked across again, never burning her feet. Never burning her feet. Isn't that amazing? Now, how many of us are going to go do that? Really? You're going to try? Don't you like that word? Yeah. You don't want to think too much about it, but you want to be prepared, right? You want to be prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, be really ready to embrace that experience. And so today, I have for all of us an experience not like that, though. I have all the coals outside in the parking lot. Would you please take off your shoes? And they're going to want me to go first, right? Just to test.